Hey, what's up, y'all? What's up? It's your girl, Sean Taylor. Listen, I told y'all once again to set your notifications because it was going to be a great day, right? I was going to have some great people on here today to have some awesome conversations with. And I have Kristian with me. I'm so excited she decided to join me. She is nervous, but she is here, ready to ask whatever questions she needs to ask concerning homeschooling. I just had a quick conversation with her before we got on. Y'all bear with me. You know what I'm doing. I'm sharing on my screen. Bear with me as I do that. But I just had a quick conversation with her. And what I do know about her is that she has decided to take the leap to homeschool. And now she just needs to know the who's, the what's, the whens, the where's, and the how's, right? And I do understand that there are mamas just like her that are out there. And so it is my goal again to bring people that look like you, that are feeling the same things that you feel, where you can see her and say, "Ooh, I know exactly what she's going through. That's exactly what I'm going through." So I'm going to bring her on, let her begin to ask your questions. If you're coming in, say, "Hey, what's up?" Let me know that you're here. And then I need all of you to share so we can get some more people in the room, because guess what? Kristian isn't the only one, right? Kristian's not
Right.
alone. So
I can't.
I'm going to share a couple more times, and then I will, in the meantime, Kristian, you can go ahead and start asking your questions. Well, you know what? Don't do that because I want to write your questions down because I'll
Okay.
forget. Let me, let me share. Let me give you all my attention first. Hold on one more time, and then we'll go from there.
Alrighty.
Thank y'all so much for joining. I don't know if I will be answering questions. Last time I didn't answer questions really, but there really weren't any. But these are some good sessions, and I need y'all to be present, right? Because these are the questions that you're asking me, and you need the answers to, and this is a place to get it. Okay. All right. So Kristian, I'm ready for you. Let me get my pen ready. I'm ready.
Hey, my first question is, how do I get started? We have been in normal school, and where do I start? Do I start with the record shots? Do I start looking up something on what type of homeschool?
Okay. So what I do also know about Kristian is Kristian has a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old girl and a boy. And they have recently moved to a new state, to Tennessee. And so she was getting ready to, she was thinking about homeschooling, and then this COVID stuff happened. And of course, that just pushed her right over the edge. She is not alone. There are a lot of mamas out there with that exact same sentiment. And so what I would do in that place, as far as where to start, is you always, always, always start with your state laws, always. And the reason why is because you don't want that smoke, right? You don't want nobody knocking on your door saying, "Kristian, you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing."
Exactly.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is I am going to share my screen. Hopefully I do not have a bunch of foolishness up in the background. I don't know, to be honest with you. I'm gonna share my screen. Oh, it's my Facebook page. That's cool. And what I'm going to do, we're going to go to hslda.org. I will also put that in the chat for you,
Okay.
so you can copy and paste that and look at that later on. But we're going to go to there. This is one of my favorite resources. It's not the only resource. You could also go to your state organization. Like here in Texas, we have the Texas Homeschool Coalition. And there's, like, I know each state has their own, basically their own organization, I guess is what I
Okay.
can say, to help with homeschooling. But I like this one in general. And so this is the one that I go to. I didn't hit enter. Let's do that. Okay, so this is how it looks when you pull it up. I ignore all this stuff. Of course, you can go into it later on if you want to, because it's a good resource. Um, Let me just explain what this is. So basically, this is the Homeschool Legal Defense Association. So basically what this is a legal system to help homeschooling, to help with homeschooling laws, but also say, for instance, Kristian, you signed up for them today, and then
Mm-hmm.
somebody knocked on your door tomorrow or the next week and said, "Kristian, you're not homeschooling like you're supposed to." You contact them, and they will be the legal type thing for you. Okay. So that's how that works. Now, say for instance, you don't sign up for them, but
Mm-hmm.
somebody knocks on your door. You cannot call them the next day and say, "Hey, somebody knocked on my door. Can you help me?" They're not going to help you.
Okay.
And so that's just, let me just put that out there. Okay. So it's a good organization if you want to do that. I do believe that among some other things that are similar to this, they do use a scare tactic to get people to sign up for it. what I tell my clients is you have to determine whether or not if it works for you, if it's important for you. For me,
Okay.
it's important for me to sign up for it because I'm out in front of everyone saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm homeschooling."
Mm-hmm.
So I need to have somebody on in my corner if anything ever goes down, basically.
Okay.
So that's just the caveat to that. They have resources, they have all good stuff, and I think it's only $150 a year, and you can
Okay.
pay it monthly if that's something you can't afford immediately. So what I would do is I'll scroll all the way down and I'll go to homeschool state laws.
Okay.
Homeschool laws by state. I made up a whole different title, right?
Right.
And then I'll find my state. Of course, you can click whatever state if you want to do that, but I just go down here because it's easier for me.
Okay.
And I'm going down to the laws, and it talks about the laws as far as that's concerned.
Okay.
How to homeschool in Tennessee, how to comply with the Tennessee's homeschool laws. Help me, Father. I don't know what I'm reading, child. Let's see. So it gives you from start to finish. It tells you what options you have, right? So you have options one, which is the independent homeschool. Basically, you have to have a diploma or a GED to do that, and then you submit your notice of intent. You
Okay.
also submit your proof of immunizations, which you were talking about. The shot records is what you were talking
Mm-hmm.
about. You provide the required hours of instruction. So this is a state that requires a certain amount of days. So you have to teach 180 days throughout the year.
Okay.
That's required. Now, what I want you to remember about those 180 days, think back when your kids are going to school, even though it says 180 days, it doesn't mean formal education. You remember you took field trips and you went on walks and all of that kind of stuff. So all of that is incorporated in that 180 days. And then maintain an attendance record. And it could be just a calendar where you're marking them.
Okay.
It could be if you're using Google Classroom where you can see that they're coming in. Well, your kids are younger, so I wouldn't necessarily do that, but it could be that.
Okay.
Also, it appears that Tennessee requires testing for your child. So in the grades 5th, 7th, and 9th, they have to be tested, standardized tests to make sure that they are learning what they're supposed to learn, right? So that would be something I would be mindful of because I don't want them to learn to pass the test, but I do want them to be able to walk in there and pass the test, right? So that's something that you would think. So this is where I would start. Okay, so that's option one, right? And then church related, we talked about that.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, no, we didn't talk about that. I'm sorry. So if you wanted the church to do that, and what I would like this to is here in Texas, for us as private schools, we are considered, I mean, as homeschoolers, we are considered private schools.
Okay.
So even like with churches, even though they could technically be a homeschool, a church, but they're considered a private school. Well,
Okay.
here in my house, even though we're homeschoolers, we are a private school. And so that's how it works for us. Well, it looks like you can just join a church and, do that type of schooling as far as that's concerned.
Okay.
Okay. And it's got details as far as all of that's, concerned. And then also you have the distance learning. Okay. So I would like this you were talking about umbrella school. That's what we were talking about. I
Mm.
would think that this would fit into that particular category. Is an actual umbrella school. Let's see, category 3 schools are non-public schools that are accredited by one of the following, any accreditation division of, and then it's got a bunch of lists. So
Mm-hmm.
basically the umbrella school is what I would think.
Okay.
So my first step, what I would tell you to do and tell all my clients to do is always, always, always go through the laws and make sure you read them, make sure you fully understand them. If you don't understand them, go find another resource to cross-reference and make sure that you understand what is going on. Um,
Okay.
and in the meantime, while you're doing this, going through the process of going through the laws, I wouldn't worry about curriculum. I know that sounds crazy. Even if
Okay.
you wanted to start school, say tomorrow, you want to start homeschooling tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
curriculum is your last worry. We talked about the videos in the group that you need to watch,
Mm-hmm.
but there's several steps that you need to take before you even get to curriculum, because what you don't want to do is purchase the wrong curriculum based off of you just saying, I need a book.
Right.
And
Right.
that curriculum can be really expensive depending upon what you want to do. To be
Okay.
honest as well, you could homeschool your children and not spend a dime successfully. You could
Okay.
use the library and the internet. You got internet all day long, and then the library has all kind of resources online. And so it's a matter of what you choose and what's important to you. You could grab a workbook and then, put lessons attached with that, YouTube and all that. You have all different options as far
Okay.
as that's concerned. Okay, so that's where I want you to start. I want you to start with the state laws, and then I want you to finish watching that transition series we talked about. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. So what other questions do you, now you rambled off some when we were doing our introductory thing when we were in the meeting. You rambled off. You was like homeschool room. Da, 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 da. You made a
Yeah.
big old list. So tell me.
Do you think it's important to do a homeschool room? Is it a necessity? Do I just need a desk? I mean, do they even need a desk? Like, I know
It's
that
up to
sounds,
you.
but
It's up to you. It's up to them, really. As I stated before, my kids are pretty low key. They don't really care. Just give me somewhere to write. My
mhm.
youngest sits at my feet underneath my desk and does his work. It irritates the mess out of me, but I do know that that won't always last, and he won't always want to be up underneath me. So I try not to fuss about that.
Okay.
My oldest son sits at the table, the dining room table behind us, and does his schoolwork. My daughter every day lays on the floor behind this little screen here and does her schoolwork.
Okay.
Some days, especially when I'm not feeling well, we are sitting in the bedroom. I'm in the bed, and they are sitting at the foot of the bed, or they're on the floor, and they're doing their schoolwork.
So
Um,
as long as getting the job done, that's
that's
truly
the
what
goal.
it's not a necessity to have the whole I've seen some that, I mean, looks really nice, look just like a classroom, but they have
Right.
every, ABC on the wall and the matted floors and all this other stuff, and I'm like, do I need to get that to have them a classroom feeling, or is it okay just like you said, is at the foot of the bed and whatnot?
It's up to you. What do they do? Now, your kids are young, so visually
Mhm.
they may need something on the wall. They may
Yeah.
need something to that effect, right? You may need
Okay.
to say, okay, this is school time. We're going to shift into this mode. But
Yes.
if that's not required, if they're not requiring that from you, I would not worry about it at all. I
Oh,
would it looks wonderful, right? The optics are great. Look at my homeschool room. This
right.
is perfect, right? However, we know our kids, they just gonna tear it up, right? And create more work for you to do.
Yes, exactly.
So, I mean, it's just a matter of what do you find important? It may be important for you. You know what? I want my homeschool space to look like this. I just want it. Cool. If it's
Hmm.
a big deal, cool. If it's not, you may want to do circle time and you want something important in the middle. Um,
Okay.
it's up to you. It's not. I mean, the thing about homeschooling is it's truly your journey, right? I
Mhm.
give you suggestions. I give you all the information I know, but you have to take that and say, okay, is this going to work for Kristian and my babies? Because if this
Right.
doesn't work for Kristian and my babies, there's no point in me doing it at all.
Okay.
Okay. So we went pretty quick on those laws. So give me something else. I'll answer something else for you.
I got one more question. When it said those 180 days, how is that equivalent? Is homeschool, when you do your homeschool or homeschool, okay, traditional school was 8 to 3. Do
Mhm.
I have to do 8 to 3? Do I set my own hours? Is it a specific time that they have it? And with their age, should they get a break?
So your babies are young. Again, if you're just now coming on, her kids are 5 and 8 years old. I recommend clients at 5 years old. Think back when they're going in kindergarten. They're doing the centers. They spend no more than 10 minutes at that center, right? And so at that age, lessons should be no longer than 15 minutes at that age. Even at the 8-year-old, you should be no longer than 20 minutes. You're kind of pushing it there as far as that's concerned because they lose interest, right? They're like, okay, I'm done. Unless it's something they truthfully love, they lose interest. So
Absolutely.
you're only doing those particular things. Now, the thing with the Tennessee law that makes yours good is because they're saying 180 days and not a specific amount of minutes or hours. If your
Mm,
full day is 2 hours long, then so be it. There's no issue as far as that's concerned. Our homeschool day, and I have a high schooler. Well,
mhm.
now I have two high schoolers because he just turned 14. Help me, Father. So I have two high schoolers, and then I have an elementary. And we're
Okay.
typically done with our school day within 4.5 to 5 hours. We're fully done with our full day.
Okay.
That's based off of, again, my high schoolers have to earn credit hours. So their stuff is an hour long, whereas
Hmm.
my 10-year-old, his stuff is only 30 minutes long. And so that's why our tends to be longer. And so your day is going to be shorter, right? Because you got younger babies. So you're going to do your 15 to 20-minute lesson. Let's do math. We're going to do this, and you're going to move on to English. All right. We're
Okay.
going to do this, and we're going to move on to this. And you should be done, honestly, no more than 3 hours. And again, homeschooling is a lifestyle, right? So it's not necessarily that um, you're finished all your book work and then learning is done. No,
Mm-hmm.
you spend the rest of the day learning, and you learn in different ways. You learn in
Right.
completely different ways. So it's different. It's not like put my books away, we're done. It's like, okay, well, we're going to go in the kitchen and we're going to cook, and you're going to learn how to bake this, or you're going to learn how to cook this.
Mm-hmm.
So you're learning other things versus just looking at the actual workbook or the book as far as that's concerned.
Okay. One more good
Come
question.
on, you good. You good.
Thing that I have to turn in to the other than what like the the state laws that we're talking about, like the flu shots. But when it comes to the curriculum, is there something that I have to turn in to the law of some like what we're doing? Do I have to submit,
I
my lesson
yeah.
plan or need a lesson plan? I guess that's a good
No,
question.
I looked on, I mean, looking at that website that we just looked, let me share my screen again. I didn't see, let's see, I didn't see anything like that at all. So I didn't see anything where you have to turn in your lesson plan. But what I tell people is, depending upon what type of records or whatever the case, whatever it is you may have or you need to keep up with, it's kind of a personal decision. For us, I don't keep their assignments. There's just too much going on. Like I can't. But I do keep their tests because I want to see the progression.
Okay.
I do keep a list in the beginning of the year when I start planning their stuff, what I want them to. So basically, I make a list. Well, let me start over. Basically, I go to my state website and I say, I want you to, holy cow, I'm looking at my screen. It looks weird. Hold on, y'all. It threw me off. I see myself a bunch of times. So basically, I go to the state, the student, whatever their website is, the TEA is what
Mhm.
it's called here in Texas. And I make a list of whatever it is that they have. I print their list off actually, and whatever they have listed that that child should be learning at that age group, I go through the list and I mark off anything I don't feel is important that like I just don't think it's necessary. And then
Okay.
everything else left, we spend the year marking those things off. Okay.
Okay.
So I keep track of those things so that if anybody ever asks, what are you learning? Or if I need proof or anything to that effect, I can say, here is the list that we started with. All of these that are marked off are complete and have been done.
Okay.
And then I keep the test scores too.
Where do you find that list that says like what you're saying? Is it on this same website or?
Mine is TEA, right? So it's because it's in Texas, but you're going to look in Tennessee. You're going to look for their qualifications, their standards. Or you can actually Google. So you can actually go in there and Google it and say, what should my child learn by the first grade? And it'll have a list. As a matter of fact, let me share
No,
again. You guys,
he'll be in kindergarten, and I know I've seen him for kindergarten, but with him he'll be in third grade. I don't quite know what's for third grade.
yeah, so let's look. What I would do, honestly, is I would Google what
Mm-hmm.
my child should learn by the third grade. So I would actually type that in and go and see what's going on. You've got
Okay.
We Are Teachers. I usually go here to scholastics.com just because I trust their source a little bit better than anybody else. But you can pick any of these, right? And so I would
Uh-huh.
go here and click it, and it's got a little a little blog order, blah, blah, blah. This is what they should do, right? But then if you go down, it says reading in third grade. To build
Mm-hmm.
reading, your third grader should be doing this. So these things: reads multiple syllables and grade appropriate irregular spelling words. Ask your child's teacher for a list of these words. So I would start looking for worksheets or words or something to do that, right?
Okay.
And so that's just an example for reading. Let's see. And then there's their reading list if you want to use that. Writing by third grade. Write a variety types of text, including opinion pieces, narrative pieces, informative and explanatory pieces. So then I would start looking for worksheets to go along with that. If I wasn't using an actual curriculum, I would use worksheets to kind of find that and make sure that they understand whatever that is that they're supposed to be doing.
Okay.
And then, excuse me, to build math, they should be able to multiply and divide numbers up to 100. So we're working on multiplication and division up to 100.
Okay.
And so that's what I would use. And so I print this out. I actually, for my younger, because it stops at sixth grade, so I can't use it for my older. But I would print this off, and the things that I liked, I would highlight. And then as they completed it, did all the work for it, I knew they fully understand the concept. I would check it off and put the date by it, so I knew. And then I take all of this and put it in a binder so I know. Okay.
Okay.
And that's the only work I keep, because
Mm-hmm.
my kids bring me work. Mom, look what I did. Isn't this the way? I'm like, yes, right into the trash.
Trash, yeah.
It's so amazing. And then when they're not looking, putting it in the bottom of the trash can. And so you have to decide what you want to do. So this is a resource. You could also do ixl.com and send me a message if you forget any of these.
Okay.
Send me a message and I can tell you what you need to do. What I would do is go to, it's not analytics, I think it's learning, maybe. Yeah. So learning, and then because I'm in Texas, it says TX standards here.
Okay.
But yours would probably say something else. And so this is what it's saying. Let's go to 3rd grade. Okay. And this is what it's telling you that your child should know at that age. And if you click here, IXL has a few little things that you can do. In the meantime, hey, pretty girl, a few little things that you can do. But right here, it's saying place value models up to the thousands. So what I'm doing is I'm going to print this off and I'm going to start looking for stuff to start teaching place values. Okay. And then again, marking it off and putting the date when they finish. Understanding fractions. Okay, we're working on fractions. How do we do it? And I could use IXL for free if I wanted to, or I could pay for it. It can get kind of expensive, but
Right.
it's up to you. But basically, that's what I would do. So I would print all of this off, right? And then I would go and start, marking them off. Divide by 1. Oh, my son can do that. He finished this on this day. Divide by 8. Oh, he can do that. Great. We're done. Mark it off and be done with it. So that's a good resource as far as that's concerned as well.
Okay.
IXL can get expensive. Just be mindful of that. But it is a good resource. What I tell clients on this particular resource is that it's more so of worksheets. You have to teach the lesson. So you still have to teach the lesson, and then you can come over here for the help and the worksheets. It's not so much, it doesn't teach the kid for you. Let me see if I can go on here. You're getting some good information here, Chad. So I'm going to go to 3rd grade because I know that's a baby that you have. Your son is in 3rd grade. So basically you could click that and go in here. And I think you can only do maybe 5 or so. You can't really do anything. I'm just going to, I don't know, type something in because I want to. It'll tell you that it's incorrect, right? And then it'll go in and it'll explain to you, remember how to divide by 9s. 9 divided by 9 is 1. 18, like it tells you what's going on. And then you click it and you say, got it. And then it goes back to a different problem for you to do. And even if I do it, and it's telling me right here, questions answered, but as of now, I haven't gotten any right. That's incorrect. Remember, this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's a good resource as well. Okay.
All right.
All right. So I'm going to look in the comments real quick. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Today is our second session of transitioning into homeschooling. And I have Kristian in here with some absolutely amazing questions in here. I'm really enjoying this. Do you have anything else you want to ask? I'm going to give you one more before we jump off of here real quick.
Yeah. Your specific start and end time, and I'm speaking school year wise. Do you follow what the regular school are doing? Do you do your own thing? Do you start later in the year in September, August? Do they have a summer? Do they have Christmas breaks?
So the first thing is we want to check the state laws and see if there's a specific requirement for your state for when you have to start. If not, then you start whenever you start.
Okay.
We line our school year up with our, we have family members that we spend a lot of time with. And so we line up our year with theirs because when they're out of school, we want to kick it too, right? But the thing about it is that technically we're homeschoolers. So if we did want to line it up and we could just take the day off because they're off, we could do that as well.
Okay.
So it's just, nope, you start it, check your state laws, see if there's anything that says specifically what you have to do. And if it doesn't, then you start whenever you want to.
Okay. Sounds good.
All
Thank
right,
you
Kristian, you're welcome.
So much.
You're welcome. Have an absolutely wonderful day. Thank y'all so much for joining us. And I'll see you guys. If you haven't set your notifications, I keep telling you to set them. Some good stuff happening in the next couple days. All right. Y'all have a good day. Thanks for joining me, Kristian. I appreciate you. Bye.